Guys on Tinder are some of the worst ghosters.
You've been ghosted by a lot of guys on Tinder? Is that what you're saying? Hey, thanks for tuning in to the Are You Shitting Me podcast. My name's Aaron.
And I'm Brett.
Brett, what's up, man?
Happy Halloween, Aaron.
Happy Halloween. How you doing, man?
I am awesome.
I love this time of year, man. Fall is like absolutely my favorite time of year. Summer was hot. It was stanky hot, I think, this year.
Yeah, there were moments, yeah.
Muggy, man. And so I'm so glad the fall is here finally and cooling off a little bit.
Yeah.
How are things going?
Good. I'm getting stoked for some trick-or-treating and all the good stuff.
Yeah. Good stuff for sure.
Yeah. So I am not ready for all the ghosts and other supernatural shit.
It's coming our way. Yes, indeed.
It is. Sorry, that was
Is that the topic we're talking about today?
That was just my really bad attempt at segueing that. But yes, that is our topic.
It is the topic. Yes, indeed. We had a Halloween episode last year, so we're not going to be talking about Halloween specifically. Yes, we're talking about ghosts and spirits and hauntings and all that good stuff here. It's going to be cool. Looking forward to it.
Indeed. Before we get too far along, just wanted to remind everybody to follow us on social media. Keep tabs on what is going on, and please comment, say hi, whatever, on any of the social media. That'll help us out. And remember to share the podcast with your friends and family.
Indeed. So, I have a special beer here for us today.
You do?
I do. It's going to be good stuff here.
Okay.
Ghosts Species by Springdale Beer Company out of Framingham, Massachusetts. It's a suburb of Boston. It's a sour. According to Untapped, it's inspired by the Flemish brown beers, a tawny brown blend of wine barrel aged sour beers, tart, vinous, and complex. I don't know what that word means.
Ooh, that's a big one.
It's 6.2 ABV. There was no information on IBUs, and it's a 3.87 rating on Untapped. So it's nice and clear. It's an amber. It's very clear.
It's nice. The bottle is fun. It's got a white and silver label on it.
Yeah.
It is confusing because it says it's Springdale, and I believe that Springdale is what it's listed as on Untapped as far as the brewery, but then it says it's brewed by Jack's Abbey Brewing in Framingham, Massachusetts.
Yeah.
So
I did a search for Springdale and couldn't find anything on their page. Actually, I found it, but it said they were closed permanently now.
Yeah. So I'm a little bit confused. Maybe somebody can enlighten us and tell us what's going on.
Yeah. If they are closed, it's a bummer, but we're sorry to hear that. But if they are open, we definitely like it. This is a sour, but it's good.
Sours are not my jam.
My wife loves... sorry.
What?
Went right up my nose. My wife loves sours. Like but the problem is we don't drink a lot, so we'll have 10 sours in the fridge at any moment, and that'll last us almost a half a year because we just don't drink a lot of them there. But they're good.
Yeah.
This was tasty.
This almost has, and I don't know what it is, almost a cidery aftertaste to me. Not...
Maybe that's the tart vinous or vinous.
It says
complex.
It says it's aged in wine barrels.
Yeah. That's interesting to me.
Yeah. I don't know.
I haven't had a lot of wine barrel beers.
No, I have not either.
I'm not really a fan of wine, honestly. I don't drink a lot of wine. It's tasty, though. It's what you expect.
You know what I hear when I drink this is, ooh. Yeah.
And why is that? Because it's a Ghost Species beer?
Absolutely.
Yes, indeed.
Absolutely. What are we talking about today?
Talking about ghosts, spirits, and hauntings.
Yes, I can get down with a good spirit.
Oh, yeah, me too. Always, for sure. First, it's just obvious question right away. Do you believe in ghosts?
We've talked about it before. I have no proof. I've never witnessed anything that I think, oh, yeah, that's a ghost. Nor do I want it. Casper is my type of ghost. I want friendly, nice. But yeah, I'd be open to it. I'd like to go ghost hunting or something.
Yeah. I do, and I've mentioned it before too. We have a ghost cat in our house. We've named it. I don't remember if we mentioned the name before, but it's now we've named it Salem, which is cool.
Salem was the cat on
Sabrina the Teenage Witch.
Yes, that was her cat. Was Salem.
I never watched that. So
all black cat.
Okay. This one apparently looks like Katy Perry. In fact, she'll brush up against, or he, I don't know if it's a he or she.
He's only showing on his leg.
They'll brush up against my legs. It's probably nothing at all, but yeah, we like the idea that we have a ghost cat.
Yeah, I kind of hope ghosts are real. mentioned to you, Aaron, I don't know if I mentioned it to anyone else, my mom, before she passed, she said she liked this one house that we lived in New York.
I remember you saying that, yeah.
She's, after I die, I'm coming back to this house, so I need to go and check it out and see if she's there.
Yeah, you do. You're going to knock on the door randomly one day and say, I think my mom's ghost lives here.
Yeah. Pardon me, is there some nice lady that lives here? It's my mom, so...
Well, so since we're talking about ghosts and spirits and hauntings, I thought it'd be nice to just up front set the definitions of what those are. I did some research on those, and obviously there is a difference between the three. Ghosts are often believed to be a spirit or a soul of a deceased person, or obviously a cat or something living. Spirits is a little bit more broader term in the paranormal, supernatural community. It does entail more supernatural stuff, ghosts, angels, demons, deities, things like that. And then hauntings is obviously like a manifestation of like supernatural activity in a specific location, usually a ghost or a spirit repeatedly appearing in that place or causing disturbances. I thought that was interesting because I knew that. It's basic stuff, but I hadn't really thought about breaking it down that way, which was interesting. So there are also different types of ghosts, which I did not know this. There's residual haunting ghosts. These are basically non-interactive apparitions that replay events from the past. You always see the lady jumping off the roof at midnight if you're there every day. So those are the residual ones. There's intelligent hauntings, ghosts that interact with living, responding to questions and actions and things like that.
I always get the dumb ones. Sorry, go ahead. Hey. Damn it, where's the intelligent haunting? I didn't sign up for this.
Poltergeists goes along with hauntings a little bit too. The noisy spirits that are moving objects, making noises, creating physical disturbances in place. It is a good movie. I love that movie.
Yeah.
It scared the shit out of me as a kid.
Oh, of course.
I remember, I think I had to be like 8 or something like that, and my dad let me watch it.
That was brilliant.
Watching. Oh, and like to this day, fucking marionette dolls. Forget it. No, I don't want anything to do with them.
That clown,
that freaking clown
is
Jesus.
Ugh.
Nope. Thank you.
We're not ruining anything.
Yeah.
Still a good movie, but
Yep. And then the last one is shadow people. It's dark, shadowy figures often seen out of the corner of one's eye. I think that's what Salem is. It's like we see her, but we don't really see her. And a little bit of poltergeist where we feel him or her brush up against us.
Are shadow people good, bad? Doesn't
I don't think it's a matter. It's just kind of the naming or the classification of it a little bit. It's just if you see him out of the shadows, it's just you see something, but you don't really see it. It's not a direct.
Right.
Here's an apparition in front of you. You just kind of like catch a glimpse of something walking by you or something.
I'm thinking. You remember the movie Ghosts? With Patrick Swayze.
Patrick Swayze. Yeah.
Those shadow people. They were
freaking scary too. Yeah, they came out and then they dragged you right back down to hell.
They dragged that guy to hell.
They were definitely the intelligent haunting, able to interact and grab somebody and pull them back down.
That's what I don't want. Of course, I don't want to be brought down to hell by these shadow guys. I don't want some ghost coming up and pushing me around or sitting on me and shit. I don't need any of that.
Sitting on you?
Like, I don't know. Like,
let's go just fart on my lap, man. Come on. Oh.
No, you hear people say that all the time. Like, I felt like something was compressing on my chest or holding my legs down in bed and I couldn't move. I don't need that. I don't need any of that shit.
Right.
Hey, here's some candy. That's all I need. Peanut butter cup for Brett.
Yeah, just give me a neck massage when I need it or whatever else, right?
There you go. I need a masseuse ghost. Damn, she's always giving me a massage.
Nice.
Better stop on that one. Right?
Yeah, we'll move on from that.
Awesome.
And then to close that out, there's reasons for ghosts. So, there's a lot of you have tragic deaths, which are often related to having ghosts behind. You hear about that at asylums and different slaughterhouses, or not slaughterhouses, wars,
cows,
civil wars, and that kind of stuff. You talked about that. You went to what's it called?
Oh yeah, Gettysburg has got ton of ghosts.
Yeah, there's emotional imprints, places where like intense emotions, like hospitals and battlefields. That's what I'm talking about there. Burial grounds, obviously cemeteries, just lend themselves to that.
Yeah, and
then there's a strong psychic energy that leaves imprints that causes haunting. So if you had a strong psychic energy in the area, it lingers in this place. Yeah,
cool.
Yeah, good stuff. I thought. So,
yeah.
You ever seen that TV show Ghosts?
No, I have them recorded, but I have not seen it.
It's cool. It was originally a British one, which is also good. And then the American version, I don't remember what channel it's on right now.
Yeah.
But
I was looking at different, I'm going to call them movie ghosts. Mm-hmm. Some of the more famous ghosts from movies and TV shows and stuff like that. And this one seems a little bit too easy, but Shoeless Joe Jackson from Field of Dreams.
Oh, yeah. Ray Liotta.
Yeah, and Bruce Willis and The Sixth Sense.
Yeah, that was I love that movie.
That was a good movie.
Such a great. I watched that recently again too. I hadn't seen it for some years, and it still holds up. And I gotta say, like, even now, especially more now for me, because I watched it. I'm more mature now at this point, and I watched it. And like, Haley Joel Osment's performance in that was amazing. Like, he really nailed that part for such a young kid. On to sit
as an actor. Yeah, I like this one. The Pac-Man Ghosts.
Yes.
You remember though, we had Slimer back on Ghostbusters.
Yeah, I recently just watched those the other day too, actually, because we're kind of getting into the holiday spirit a little bit. We always watch haunted movies and stuff. Starting in October every night, we'll try to watch something different.
Okay.
Yeah. Ghostbusters, of course, the original one is hands down always going to be the best.
Yeah, for sure.
That was fun. We were both kids at that point too, so that was huge when we were growing up watching that.
I agree. Yeah, there's obviously Casper is, famous fictional ghost, as I believe Chuck pointed it out, a little messed up because it was a ghost of a kid.
Yeah, you never think about that.
Yeah,
right.
Right, with a really big head. Why is his head so big? So anyway, there's some movie and TV ghosts for you.
We talked about this before on episodes, but the ghost hunter shit, like, it's still it's one of those ones that it's irk me every single time the subject comes up. I'm like, these people are so fake. And if you are seeing something, point the damn fucking camera to it. I don't want to see your face.
Right.
I want to see the actual apparition you're seeing.
Yeah, I want to believe.
I want to believe, yes. We did a ghost tour. You said you'd like to do a ghost tour. We've done a couple of them. We did some ghost tours around our town. We didn't see anything, but
shocker.
You always think you do, or you start manifesting stuff, which I'll get into some stuff that later about that. That's interesting,
cool.
For sure. But I do have actually some scientific explanations for ghosts.
Besides the wind?
Yeah, the wind, right?
I mean, my cat.
EMF, I just mentioned that. I know we talked about that. Electromagnetic
Wasn't that a band
fields.
from like the 90s?
I think it is, actually.
Yeah.
Oh, you're unbelievable.
Yeah.
High levels of electromagnetic fields can cause uneasiness and paranoia and hallucinations in people. So it's not uncommon that if you have an electromagnetic field, you might actually start to see some stuff or have some paranoia that you're feeling is uneasy there.
I always thought that was a thing in some old houses that are poorly wired and whatnot. You're walking into a room where they've got different flows of energy, literally.
Yeah.
And so when you walk in, you can feel that. And some people are even more sensitive to it. And so, are you feeling a ghost? No. Are you feeling electricity? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Our house was built in 1907, and we'll hear stuff all the time. Just the same type of thing. We have knob and tube wiring half of the house with that, and you're right. You'll hear stuff click on. It sends a reverberation throughout the house, and it's very strange. And you'll hear eerie stuff every once in a while. Infrasound, which is like low frequency sounds, those can create anxiety and fear. And this is I can't. I'm going to butcher this word, but pareidolia. It's a human tendency to see familiar patterns like faces and random stimuli. Explains ghostly apparitions and things like that too.
Right.
We look for that kind of stuff. I think that's probably most of it. I'm sure. And then there is some more serious stuff like carbon monoxide poisoning can cause hallucinations and a feeling of dread.
Really? Well. Lack of oxygen problems?
But those are historically linked with haunted experiences too. So a lot of times you'll see people claim my house is haunted, and then when they get into it, they'll see there's some weird, low frequency stuff going on here, or there is some higher levels of carbon monoxide, which could explain some of that.
Yeah, I don't know which one of those ghost shows, but there was one where I thought it was cool because in the beginning of each episode, they're like, oh, we got to report that this house is haunted. Mm-hmm. And the first thing they do is try to go and debunk everything. Like, oh, this curtain always, blowing. And yeah, there's a vent right on it.
There's a fan right above you guys here.
Exactly. Like, got that one figured out. But
have you ever done any kind of like haunted house tours or things like that?
No, I haven't. I knew people that lived in haunted houses, several actually, while I was growing up.
But you've never gone to? I've gone to the Stanley Hotel in Colorado. I've been to the Winchester House. That was really cool out in San Francisco area. And I went to the Whaley House in San Diego too, as well, which is a lot of fun. And
Not familiar with them.
But that reminded me of. I remember we were walking through the tour, and they're like, sometimes the chandelier shakes and that kind of stuff. And I'm like, there's a room right above that, and you get a big enough guy like me walking through, you're going to shake the floor a little bit.
You know? Was walking right up.
So how much is there? But all those have their own claims. Like, I was here late last night and I heard this thing, or I saw something move.
I definitely think that things can play tricks on your eyes, and you just assume that it's a person. Or I used to live in a 100-year-old house. It makes noises. The house creaks all the time on its own.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean it's haunted.
Yeah.
But
Although, like I said, all that, and I still feel like we have this ghost cat, because you'll feel this thing move against you, or you'll see something jump around.
What did you name it again?
Salem.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah.
Right on.
Speaking of Salem, I went to Salem as well, which is, they really leaned into the whole, it's more witches, obviously, but they still have a whole kind of haunting.
Just the season.
Yeah, exactly. Vibe about it. And there's lots of ghosts around that. So they capitalize on that. Ghosts are big money. They're fun. People like ghosts. They like going to haunted house. They like going to that kind of stuff.
I wonder if ghosts are popular because people like to be scared, or because they like to think that there's, an afterlife type of thing. There's something else, beyond our current form that we're in. I'm gonna come back and be that little mischievous ghost that's, where's my cell phone? I can never find my AirPods.
I actually saw some information on psychology of ghosts and that kind of stuff. And there are people who, one, it's a comfort thing, knowing that you said your mom coming back to her house, the idea that she might be there. Yeah, is a little bit comforting. Whether or not it's true or not, there's some comfort level of that this person is still around, right, in a way. There's obviously fear and fascination about that too, the haunting side of things and the scarier side of things as well. But I like the idea of the comforting stuff. I think that's interesting.
Yeah. When you were growing up, or even now, did you know anybody who had a haunted house?
No. Now, like I said, I guess you could say me haunted with the cat, but other than that, no. Mm-hmm.
So I used to live in Fort Leavenworth, Kansas, and had a house there that these ghosts never did anything malicious, but it was women having a tea party.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah, it reminds me very like a Disney, like the Haunted Mansion
kind of stuff, right?
Love that.
Oh, yeah, that ride was awesome. The movie went not so much, but the ride was good. Yeah, you're not missing much.
Okay, good.
But you mentioned about the girl being, that was where she buried. Obviously, you hear all the poltergeist stuff about Indian burial ground. Almost like, it's funny, that seemed to be the only answer in the 70s and early 80s about why this place would be haunted. And they always bragged about, it's also built on an ancient Indian burial ground. Oh, what? Neat, okay. Why would we have a subdivision on that?
Right? I do find that interesting. We hit every single burial ground that there was. Like, how come we couldn't find any other place without a burial ground?
Right. You ever do a Ouija board?
Hell no.
No?
No.
We used to. We had one as a kid. We used to play around with it and stuff like that. I don't believe in that. I feel like that one's very easy to manipulate yourself. And
I'm sure. My mom put the fear in me.
Really?
Yeah, that's not something you mess around with.
You open the portal to the other side.
Right? People who are hardcore believers believe that. Mm-hmm. That's a great tool for communicating to the undead.
Yeah. Speaking of that kind of communicating with the dead has been around forever. You think about, has ancient roots, practice in Egypt and Rome and all that stuff about communicating with the dead. That was really big then. Obviously, in the early 1900s, seances became really popular. There was a lot of leaning into spiritualism and all that good stuff. It became a cultural phenomenon in art and literature. And I read somewhere, Lincoln, I forget her name. What's his wife's name? Mrs. Lincoln. She would do seances in the White House, and sometimes Abraham Lincoln would attend. I think it was something like they wanted to see their son or something like that. I forget what it was. Yeah. I didn't dive deep
into it. Or whatever his name was.
Was it really?
I think so.
Oh, okay. There you go.
But see, she was fooled. I heard that she was fooled because it's a double exposure technique, the photographers back then. And so there's a very famous picture of Lincoln after he was deceased with, so it's Mary Todd, isn't it? And it's a picture of her getting her portrait taken, and it's him like with his hands on her shoulder. You can Google it, and you just look at it. Like, first of all, it doesn't really look like Lincoln. Maybe it is, but it's more like this guy did a double exposure to make it look like there is the spirit of Abraham Lincoln still with his wife.
Super easy to do back then, in those days too, because you had to have that frame open, and so any movement made a ghost appear on the negative a little bit.
Yeah.
You had to hold still otherwise. There was an interesting experiment that was done in like the 1972s that I did some research on. Did you see anything on the Philip experiment when you were
Doesn't
doing
ring a bell.
research? It was a parapsychology experiment out of Toronto, 1972. Basically, the goal of it was to determine whether a fictitious ghost created entirely through like an imagination could manifest a physical phenomenon. And what they did was they created this character named Philip Aylesford. He was an English nobleman living in the 17th century, had a tragic life involving a loveless marriage, a doomed love affair, and a gypsy woman named Margot.
Oh, so, say no more.
Right? You know some shit's about to happen, right? And they got this group of people together who basically no known psychic abilities. There was a housewife, there was an industrial designer, an accountant, a sociology student, a few more people there. And they had them conduct regular seances trying to bring Philip to life. Over time, the group actually started to report paranormal phenomenon, like the table would move and slide, or they would hear knocking on the wall. I think it's an interesting kind of like psychology side of that, where you talk about, do you see stuff or do you manifest it yourself? If you're expecting to see something, do you see it because of that? Or I know sometimes we don't see it. Like I'm not expecting to see Salem brush against me, but now that I have an idea that there's a ghost in my house, anytime the air conditioning turns on and blows my leg,
a little
is
static
that Salem,
electricity on your
right?
leg hairs, yeah.
Yeah. I guess it basically was highlighting like the importance of expectation, paranormal, placebo effect, obviously, as part of that, and how much human imagination and suggestion play into hauntings as well. I don't know. I thought that was really interesting.
Yeah. I want to go and see somebody and see what not just go see somebody, but I want to go and find
Brett doesn't get out much. Just want to go see someone, man. Anybody.
Guys? Anybody? No, I think it'd be cool to go see a medium and see what they say. We've already shared a lot of information about ourselves on the podcast, so now I'm going to be a little bit skeptical of anything, but I'm sure it's not like we're world famous yet. We can still go find somebody someplace that hasn't heard of us and see what they say. Yeah.
If there's a medium out there listening to us right now who wants to be on the podcast, give us a call or shoot us a message.
Yeah, that would be fun. I would like to check that out.
Mm-hmm. Do you know that Thomas Edison invented a spirit phone? Or he said he has. There was actually no physical drawings of it or actual building of anything, but it was rumored that he had
cured cancer. Well, I can't prove it, but I did. Trust me.
He firmly believed that he could create some kind of device that would pick up on a psychic energy and allow you to chat with someone and do that. And I think that was his idea that he was going to get into, but obviously nothing ever came out of it, and there's no physical evidence.
He decided
so
to do
who knows if that was really real or not. But I thought that was interesting too.
Yeah.
He seems, I don't know, very scientific, obviously, and a big inventor, but also
he was a con artist. He stole other people's ideas and passed them off as his own.
Fair enough.
Just saying. Sure. Look it up. Google it. That's what I do.
Hashtag Thomas Edison was a con artist. Follow us for more information. Follow us for more knowledge.
Breaking news. Yeah. Dropping knowledge bombs on people. Dropping knowledge on your ass.
Do you like haunted movies and scary movies and things like that?
Not really.
No?
I mean, like I said, I was a sheltered kid, so, I don't go out of my way to see them. Some of the older ones, not a big deal. Like I said, Poltergeist, but no. You like those.
I'd love those, man. Those are great. My wife is even more into them. Like, I don't necessarily go out all the time to watch it, but I won't necessarily turn it off if it's a good one, especially like some of the older ones, Exorcist and Shining, and some of those things are really.
Just for the record, you keep saying that you have a wife, but I've never met her. Just saying.
Just saying. Just saying.
I'm kidding, Karen. I'm kidding. Hey, Karen.
Exorcist is probably one of my favorite movies of the genre, I think. I really like that whole subject kind of stuff. So any kind of there's an exorcism movie, to me, that's what it is. And I know that's not necessarily a ghost, but that definitely leans more into the spirits and the demons and angels and all that good stuff coming in. I watched a documentary not too long ago about the Exorcist movie, and it was really interesting. I forget if it's on Netflix or something like that.
So not about the actual story, but about the movie.
About the movie itself.
Okay.
Yeah. It was the whole story, actually. First of all, it's based on an actual real story. The author, who was at school at the time, it was something like back in 1949, there was a young boy named Roland Doe. He had read some story about this in the newspaper. Wherever he lived, they were talking about this kid who was having an exorcism and speaking in tongues, and it fascinated him for a long time. He was at school at that time when that was happening, and he sat on it for a while. He did, which I didn't know. The writer of Exorcist was a really prolific writer in Hollywood. Wrote tons of stuff that you wouldn't even think about, wouldn't even realize. But obviously, then 70s, he decided to revisit that and wrote the book, The Exorcist, and wrote the screenplay at the same time and rolled it out. It's one of the most successful haunted or spirit movies of all time. And yeah, it's a really interesting documentary. I highly recommend checking it out. It's cool. That movie also won tons of awards and for writing and special effects and all that good stuff. The head spinning around and the pea soup and all that stuff. And obviously there's a lot of lore about all the problems that stemmed out of it, which again, I think that goes back into you're in a movie and someone dies, it's got to be The Exorcist. No, it's just a car crash that happened 6 years later.
Yeah.
But it's the curse of The Exorcist. And I think it goes back to what I said earlier about people manifesting stuff that isn't really there or trying to make a connection that isn't really there.
Didn't The Exorcist win like best musical? I think it's like a Tony. I don't know what it was. Yeah,
The Exorcist, the musical.
It's green split pea soup. No, it's vomit.
No, it's vomit. She's hovering above the bed. She's hovering.
Da, 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 da. All right.
Who's the guy who did Hamilton?
Yeah.
Whatever. If you're listening, hey, give us a call. We'll be happy to write an Exorcist musical here for you.
Yeah, Exorcist the musical. We got a trademark or something on that, right?
Yeah.
We got a TM.
TM. There you go.
There you go. Nice.
Do you like The Shining at all? That's also one of my favorites.
Yeah, I haven't seen it in a while. I think it's lost some of its scariness, but yeah, just as I got older, and just like The Exorcist doesn't necessarily scare me anymore.
Yeah.
But when you're younger, it was scary.
Have you read the book?
I don't read.
I knew that about you, man. I'm sorry.
What the hell?
Dude, the book, it's obviously I've seen the movie first, like as a growing up, The Shining was big and I watched that and everything else, but I read the book not too long ago, and by not too long ago, like maybe 15 years ago. So,
man, our sense of time is so warped. Well, it wasn't that long ago.
It was after the 1900s. Let me just say that.
Oh, so you're saying 2/3 of your life ago?
Right.
Got it.
But that's a scary ass book. Like the book is really good, and I love the book. There was a miniseries they made too that really followed the book in a more traditional way of how the book laid it out. And there was one point, there's only 2 books I've ever read like that I'm sitting in the middle, it's 2:00 in the morning, I'm glued to it, and like chills are coming up my spine and my hair standing up. There was a couple points where it creeped the shit out of me, and I'm like, man, this is great. Like it was super intense. And I think for a book to do that is really interesting because you have to manifest it in your own mind as well as you're reading it there as well. And it's good stuff.
You know the secret to not being scared while you're reading a book, right?
What's that?
Close it. Put it down.
Just don't read it, man.
Stop.
That's what I've been doing wrong in all these years.
Oh, damn. Here I am forcing myself to read it. I'm like, just get through it, man.
I thought there was interesting trivia on The Shining that I didn't find a lot on it, but like I said, I did go to the Stanley Hotel in Colorado, and I guess the inspiration was one night he had stayed there one night. It was like, I don't know, there weren't a lot of guests there, and they were doing something in the Grand Hall, and the music was echoing through the halls, and he had this kind of weird sensation about it, and he thought it inspired him to say, what if this is this weird something else going on there and there's nothing happening? And I thought it was cool how he came about that story a little bit from that. The other thing is it was originally called Dark Shine instead of The Shining, but he felt The Shining better reflected Danny's psychic abilities and it wasn't dark necessarily. It wasn't dark. It was really more of a warning. Red Rum. Yeah. Did you ever dress up as a ghost or anything like for Halloween? Did you ever do that?
Yeah, I'm sure I dressed up as a ghost, but not for Halloween. I was better than that.
Yeah, same. I never did the ghost costume, and
It was for parents that were too cheap to go get a shower curtain costumes. All the clothes were made of material. It's like a shower curtain.
A horrible mask.
Yeah, that you can barely see out of. Yeah.
Lead paint on top of it.
No wonder all the kids are getting hit by cars. They can't see shit. And now they're Casper. Ta-da!
Full circle. All right. I'm going to give one more shout out to this beer. Ghosts Species by Springdale Beer Company. What's it say on the bottle? Or who?
Jack's Abbey Brewing.
It's sour. It's nice. It's not bad. I didn't finish the whole thing.
This is perfect for sharing like 3-4 people.
Agree.
And just have a little sip and a little taste of it, and that's enough.
Yeah.
I think it's good.
Yeah.
Just, I don't want this every day.
Good stuff for sure. If you like this episode and want to learn more about us and what we do, and also check out some of our other episodes and our social medias and all that good stuff, see some pictures, you can go to aysm.show.
Follow us on Untapped if you want, aysm_show. Well, what are we going to be talking about next time, Aaron?
Oh,